in my mind, there's really only two constants in the world. And when I realized if you put these two powerful forces together, you could really create some unbelievable products. Landit actually has an AI component that will tell you what you sound like. Do you sound like a CEO? Do you sound like an intern? Do you sound like a supervisor? Do you sound like a manager? But we actually have looked at 2.3 million questions. We pulled out 15 of them. If you don't have the emotional connection, you're not going to get the job. The goal is for you to go get a job quicker. I'm the only person in the world who's actually researched this and wrote books about it. People will be impacted. There's no doubt about it.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Simple Tech Talk, where we dive into the innovative world of AI and its impact on various industries. I'm your host, Taran Agarwal, and today we are thrilled to have Paul Bailo, a luminary in digital transformation and AI. Paul is the CEO of PIP Consulting Group and the visionary behind Landit, a platform designed to revolutionize job interview preparation with AI. His work spans advising top firms like Mastercard and Citibank and extends to a global digital strategy. Paul, welcome to the show.
Hey, Taran, thanks again, and thanks for reaching out. You do some really cool work. Plus, you're an NYU student. I teach at NYU, so I'm looking for a great conversation.
Definitely. That was an absolutely insane connection. Paul, so could you start by telling us a little about your journey in digital transformation and what inspired you to create Landit?
Yeah, so I think, so in my mind, there's really only two constants in the world. The first constant is a search for eternal love. Everyone's trying to fit in somewhere, somehow. Either you're trying to fit in, in the classroom, you're trying to fit in the boardroom, you're trying to fit in at work, you try to fit in at school, and everyone's trying to figure out where they fit in. And this is who we are as human beings. We want to fit in. The second constant is constant change. Now and forever, the minute we're born, the minute we're changing, we're constantly changing every minute, every second. And when I realized if you put these two powerful forces together, you could really create some unbelievable products, services, and mindsets. Because you can't just change things without really caring for the people that you're changing. And if you could build your logic of a new product or service or gutting a company and rebuilding the company, I think you have to do it with love. And there are different levels of love, right? So you have a dog, you could love your dog, you could love your mom, you could love your sister, you could love your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever it may be. So there's different levels of love. But my success has always been in looking at companies currently what they are, what they could be, what they should be, and knowing that change is massively hard. So when I look out in the career service world, I realize people miss two key things. They miss the fact of how do you logically have a conversation, i.e. a phone interview. And when I was going for my PhD, I researched what a phone interview is. What's it mean using data and analytics? And I wrote a book. The book's been around the world. It's, the essential handbook for phone interviewing. It's the first one ever in the world to write about this. And then as I was speaking around the United States, people kept asking me about digital interviewing. I was the first person in the world to write about digital interviewing, the essential digital interview handbook. And I finally realized that I needed to take these books and digitize them and gamify them and bring in an AI. And that's really the beginning to Landit. So I have a company called Phone Interview Pro. We do high-level evaluations for people in New York State and Massachusetts Commission for the Blind. But we finally said it's time to take the book, gamified it, and really make it work for people where it will give them actual results. And in Landit, it's really an AI-powered interview prep system. It basically helps you to prepare for phone interviews. It prepares your voice, and it prepares for your digital interviews. Now, when we look at phone, it looks at your voice, but Landit actually has an AI component that will tell you what you sound like. Do you sound like a CEO? Do you sound like an intern? Do you sound like a supervisor? Do you sound like a manager? But it also has a very unique gamified system to educate you. And we use the premise of, tell, show, do. So first we educate you, then we give you an exam, make sure you understand what we were training you on, and then we actually say, let's go try this. We not only try to train your voice and profile your voice, but we actually have looked at 2.3 million questions. We pulled out 15 of them. And 10 of them are response analysis. So we ask you the question, we record your voice online, you could hear your voice, and you could hear how a professional will respond to it and why it's a unique answer. But at the same time, we give you different metrics on your voice, aptitude, loudness, clarity. And then we actually, through our AI system, define what type of voice you have. Do you have a happy voice, a sad voice, an angry voice? And then what we also do is we actually have voice exercises. So if you're an opera singer, before you go on stage, there are certain exercises you do. We've actually patented voice exercises for your interviews. And at the end of this, after you've gone through the e-learning, after you've gone through the AI, you could go to the an Opportunity Park. There's a souvenir shop, and in the souvenir shop, you get your 150-page workbook that's customized and personalized just on you. Now, we never tell you what to do. We just use the power of enlightenment, the power of understanding this possibly may help you. We try to get you aware of what you're doing, but we never tell you what to do. Because in my experience, when you tell someone what to do, there's a lot of resistance. So if you just use the power of self-awareness, it really grabs that person and say, yes, I want to fix this, but I don't want to fix that. And that's one side of the program at Landit. And Landit, you have to think about, it's like Disney World. There's like different parks in it. So one park, is Opportunity Park, and the other part that we created is called DIBS. And it's a digital interview program. It's the same premise. You log in, you have e-learning. It's all gamified. I had all my NYU students review it for AI and UX. They absolutely loved it. They did all the testing. And then when you go into looking at the AI piece, we tell you what your eyes look like in terms of, are you focused on the camera? So we actually have real-time tracking. We look at over 29 emotional features of your face. We scan your face as you're actually getting ready to do your digital interview. We have an AI system that tracks the lighting, background, backlighting, front lighting, right lighting. We also have an AI system that tracks what you're wearing. And then we get into really detail. So once you're ready, we then say, okay, are your lights set up? Is your audio set up? Is your camera set up? And then we say, go. And then we record your digital interview for the first 30 seconds. And then we upload that to our AI service. And then you get a 15-page report. And it goes through some very detailed analysis and sort of puts you in a category of what you might be interested in. That might help you. So we look at color temperature, frame rate. We look at mean saturation, mean brightness, resolution, download speed, upload speed. We look at the echo in your audio, the latency of your audio. We look at noise suppression in your audio. And then we do this whole analysis using AI about your environment. We look at eye contact. We look at the distance you are from the camera. We have something called the triangle of love, where the digital interview should all be about you, from the top of your head to your right shoulder to your left shoulder. We do emotional analysis, glare detection, blurriness, your attire. And then we actually give you all the metrics. And we let you look at the metrics and decide for yourself what you may want to do. But we have it down to the minute detail, and we explain everything to you. And we guarantee you that if you go through this, Landit for phone, voice, and digital, there's nothing more you could do. This is it, right? This is the holy grail of what you have to be ready for all your digital interviews, your phone interviews, and perfecting your voice during any interview that you have. But the fun part really is the fact that you get the books, and these are specifically for you. And it takes roughly 60 minutes to do this. So we like to say we can make you an interview pro in 60 minutes. And that's sort of the beauty of Landit.
It's insightful how you've recognized the importance of fitting in and the inevitability of changing in driving innovation.
Mhm.
I find it particularly compelling that you have translated this into into practical applications like Landed by incorporating empathy and care in your digital solutions. Now, first of all, thank you so much for sharing the capabilities. With these capabilities, such as real-time tracking of emotional features and environment setup, how do you ensure the AI provides accurate and constructive feedback? Also, how do users typically respond to this level of detailed analysis? How does it help them improve their interview performance?
Sure. So one key thing with Landit is that we noticed is that there's a lot of companies out there that do some really great work, but they miss the emotional intelligence piece. That's the first beauty of Landit, where it's not about the content, right? Because you could spend years, hours and years and months on your resume, but if you don't have the emotional connection, you're not going to get the job. You're going to look great on paper and stuff, but if you can't have eye contact during your digital interview, if you don't have vocal variety, you don't have confidence in your voice, the game's over. So what we constantly do is we constantly monitor our algorithms. So an algorithm is really a living, breathing beast. And every 6 months we go out and we train it within the marketplace. So everything in Landit is a moving, living being or organism that we believe it's good today for the next 6 months, and then we go back. Now, the proof is in the pudding, which basically means we're not here to tell you what to do once again. We're here to sort of tell you this is what the marketplace is saying to do, but you get to choose it. And the goal is for you to go get a job quicker. We believe we could take off 3 months of your job search, and we guarantee it. So we guarantee the fact that if you use Landit, that you will significantly improve your digital interviews and significantly improve your phone interviews. And by going through what we call our secret sauce, you will definitely expedite your job search. Now, we guarantee the fact you're going to improve. We can't guarantee you're going to land a job. That's almost impossible to do, right? But I could tell you the work that we've been doing with Massachusetts and their clients is stellar. So we do a lot of work with Massachusetts Commission for the Blind and helping them get ready for their phone interviews and their digital interviews. And the amount of success that we've had is overwhelming, which is really unique because it's one of the hardest populations to land jobs because of, people with different reaction to people who are blind. But through Landit and through what we've been using and telling them what to do and advising them and assessing them, it's very, very fruitful in terms of the end result. So no matter what I say, no matter what I do, the critical piece is, does it help you get the job? And our research says yes. We believe it can help everyone, but you have to go through it in order to do this. But once again, I'm the only person in the world who's actually researched this and wrote books about it. So it's based off of sound logic, data analytics, and actually testing it in the marketplace. But we don't believe that the market stays the same. We believe it constantly changes. And that's why every 6 months we're out there in the marketplace making sure our algorithms work properly.
It's impressive that Landit guarantees significant improvements in digital and phone interviews. Of course, you can't guarantee a job, but that's the maximum we can do. And especially with the voice analysis, like I mentioned before, I think the integration of eye contact, voice, variety, and confidence truly sets Landit apart. Could you explain the key metrics or indicators that Landit uses to measure and ensure these improvements? Like, what kind of feedback have you received from your beta testers or current users to illustrate how Landit has tangibly helped them in their job search and interview preparation?
Right. So we're only in the test phase, right? So we're actually literally launching as we speak. So as you know, I've been teaching at NYU as you graduate NYU. So I've been there 10 years. So my students do all the UI UX testing, and the ability to retain the information because of the way we present it was off the charts. The way of actually being engaged, like we ran out of ink on the report, because what I didn't want to happen is that I personally believe a lot of the online education is pretty boring. It's like watching bad YouTube video. And we gamify this in a way that it is interesting, fun, musical, entertaining, but you definitely retain it. So when we did the surveys, we were over 97% overall for a group of over 100 students who went through this. And they tested it and they said, yes, without a doubt, 100% of the 100 people said, yes, this will help me in a phone interview, in my voice analysis, and also in digital analysis. And now we're actually working with schools. We're reaching out to NYU and Columbia to actually get in the marketplace as we speak today. So we see that this is only an enhancement to what people need to do to get ready for the job market. Now, last 2 years, job market has been absolutely fantastic. Now it's getting a little harder, a little tighter. International students may have a little bit harder time, but if you could just go through this and fine tune certain components. For instance, if you can't look at the camera, and when I mean look at the camera, but to look at the camera and have it at eye level, my research indicates that if you're looking down, you're going to be dominant to the hiring manager. If you're looking up, you're going to be subservient to the hiring manager. So through evolution, we want to be at eye contact. I can't tell you how many students that we've tested basically flip open their laptop and the camera's all over the place. There's noise in the background. I mean, it's unacceptable. So if you just fine tune it a little bit. And the most interesting thing we found is that 80% of the interview, for a digital interview, you don't really have to do anything but prepare. That means have a good camera, have a good audio, have a good mic, have the right lighting, have the right background. And the other thing we tell people is if you're using Zoom, right, make sure you have a professional photograph uploaded in Zoom, because the hiring manager, the first thing they will see is your photograph. So you're already building an emotional connection with the hiring manager before you even open your mouth. And then you're just going to look so professional that the person would be like, wow, I'm impressed. I guarantee you, if you do Landit and you take just half of the advice we give you, you're going to be better than most people, because most people don't prepare, right? I mean, so if you just do the preparation, you tighten up everything, man, oh man, there's nothing going to stop you. Now, you also have to, I should be very clear, we're on the emotional piece of connecting with the hiring manager, but you also have to have the skills, right? So, we can't help you. We're not in the world of helping you uptrain you, skill you that way. But the performance of your phone interview, the performance of your voice, the performance of your digital interview, we could definitely help you.
That's awesome. I can't wait for it to launch and, for students to start using it.
Yeah,
It's especially fascinating to hear about the high engagement and retention rates you've achieved with its gamified approach. That's what I think the Gen Z wants, and the 97% positive feedback from your students is just, crazy, especially if it's just in the beta testing phase.
And it's a lot of fun. The 3% we took and we did the UI, UX and filled it up. We have an interesting character in the program that's called Pit Pro. And Pit Pro is basically a talking phone that walks you through. And he has a very interesting accent. So he actually, if you're in New York City and you've been to Coney Island in Brooklyn, it's a very interesting Coney Island, Brooklyn accent that the character Pit Pro has. And a lot of people like we're wondering why he has this voice. It is a little annoying. However, it works throughout the entire program. And that's what makes it really pretty funny. And we also have a young lady called Elena who actually who walks Pit Pro through how you do a digital interview, how do you do a phone interview. So it's a lot of fun. I will tell you, most people don't realize they're learning. It's just so embedded into what they're doing, and it's so much fun. The games in the program, the education, the tests. And then really the AI is just a lot of fun. And we think in 60 minutes, you should, you'll be able to be an interview pro. I mean, we're not looking to spend years doing this, right? No one wants to spend a year perfecting this, but we guarantee you the fact that if you just set this all up right, you'd be in really good shape.
Yeah. Plus it's automated entirely. There's no human person inside. It's just AI in the works. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, so a good friend of mine from high school said something very interesting when we were having lunch. And he said, wow, you're the first person speaking, and he works for TCS. He's a good friend, known for like 40 years. And he said something very interesting, which is, wow, you're the first person I've been hearing that's leveraging the power of AI to help people get jobs, as opposed to AI taking jobs. So we're like, the paradigm is this powerful system called artificial intelligence. Through Landit, we're leveraging that power in order to help people land jobs that they want by perfecting their interviewing skills. And once again, we're not perfecting you on the content piece. We're perfecting it on the emotional piece, because no matter how good you are, you have to have some sort of connection with that hiring manager, through your voice, through a digital means, but there has to be an emotional connection there. And if not, it's just going to be harder if you get the job. It's just going to be harder, because what sometimes happens is people think their non-digital communication skills transfer equally through a digital means, meaning the way they communicate on one-on-one real interactions may not necessarily work during a Zoom meeting. And that's really where Landit is making you aware of the fact that maybe you need to modify it. But once again, I'll be very clear. We never tell you what to do. We're using the power of self-awareness to make this happen, which is one of the most powerful tools in the world.
Definitely. Now, transitioning to your work at PIP Consulting, how do you leverage AI in your current operations and across the various industries you serve? Which industry do you think will be affected the most in the next 5 to 10 years?
So it's interesting. So within PIP Consulting, we do consulting work in the digital transformation space, leveraging the methodology of digital, the power of design thinking, and integrating AI. I think every industry will be impacted. I don't think there's going to be an industry that's not. And to give you an example, if you go to McDonald's spent $1.3 billion on a data analytic company, and they built a robotic arm called Flippy to basically make hamburgers with an optical eye that says, when is the burger ready? So if McDonald's is saying, hold on a second here, we don't want to hire the high school kid who, and maybe high school kids don't want to work at McDonald's, but, sometimes the first job you get is at a fast food restaurant. And what's going to be happening is the person the high school student who used to go as their first job working in fast food, that job's no longer there. That job is basically Flippy, who's basically does a better job flipping the burgers than a human being. But the next step that McDonald's took was to actually showcase a McDonald's with no human beings using AI and robotics. And they built the first McDonald's out in Fort Worth, Texas, where you just drive up and there's no human beings in the entire building. You just order and the food comes out. Now, when we say AI, I don't think it's just AI. I think it's AI, plus obviously the power of analytics, plus the power of design thinking, plus the power of digital transformation, all together, reevaluating the core reasons why company exists. Like what is McDonald's doing? They're supplying food, but the rest of it could be transformed into a matter where to make it faster, quicker, and easier. And the funny thing is I forgot, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I don't usually go to McDonald's, right? So because the food's not really that good, so I'm not recommending going to McDonald's if you're healthy, but But a friend of mine seems to go there, and he says, I went there 10 times. Every time the order was wrong. So humans make mistakes, right? So the probability of an AI system making a mistake is a lot lower than a human. But the AI transformation will impact fast food, and I'm amazed that fast food is moving so quickly. And I really think it has to do with society, labor, and the cost of minimum wage. And those three factors have caused the fast food industry to really grapple with AI quicker than some. And now you also have sort of insurance companies also looking at AI, right? So I'm on a board advisor for a group called Insure. And a lot of the insurance agencies are saying, how do I get money to people who've been impacted by climate change and my house is flooded? They use an AI system harnessing satellites to basically identify the depth of the water from a satellite. Every inch is $25,000 of damage to the house. So they actually cut you a check without ever visiting the house, using an AI system to monitor the level of floodwater and monitoring using satellite imaging, digesting it into an AI system to determine the damage. So it's all naturally coming around. Now, I don't think AI would be its own standing entity. Just like if you go to work, you have a laptop or you have your mobile phone. I wrote an article a while ago called My Coworker Has No Heartbeat. I believe your coworker would be an AI system working next to you that will be reporting to you. I believe if you're working in a call center, that the call center agent, the human, will have a friend who would be an AI system. But it would be an AI agent. And the agent wouldn't necessarily just answer the question, but the digital agent will carry out the actual function of a human being. So for instance, if you have a car accident and it's 2:00 in the morning, you call up, the AI system will say, are you okay? Take care of your policy, take care of the damage, give you a quote, get the car towed, get the ambulance. It will do everything a human being would do. So we're well beyond the fact of question answer. We're actually thinking this as a digital agent. And I like to call it digital labor. And you're going to see a lot more digital agents / digital labor coming into the marketplace. So your competition may not be another human being in the future. Your competition may be another human being and a digital agent.
Uh-oh, that's crazy to even think about. You mentioned several fascinating points about AI's impact on industries, including McDonald's investment in AI and robotics, where it's their fully automated restaurant, and how it reduces human errors. These examples really highlight the rapid adoption in AI in the fast food industry. Now, considering these advancements and all of the other examples that you mentioned, what are your thoughts on the potential for job displacement due to AI, and how should businesses and employees prepare for these changes, especially in the forthcoming future?
Great question. It's going to happen. I mean, it's naturally going to happen. Look, there are two constants that we said, right? Constant change and search for eternal love. You have to be competitive. So you will be impacted. You're always going to be impacted with work. So the first thing we have to realize is work is infinite. You could create work, right? You could say paint the wall red, and someone else can say paint it green, as long as someone's paying you. So the idea of work is infinite. It's not finite. Two, people will always be impacted no matter what. We've been impacted with a calculator. We've been impacted with a computer. We've been impacted with a laptop. We've been impacted with the internet. Everyone before this said, oh, we're going to lose all these people. If anything, created better jobs and higher paying jobs for people. Now, the problem is some people may miss out, where we have to work with industry, universities, and governments to say the McDonald's job is no longer there. We have to upgrade your skills. We have to upgrade your skills to help with building a robotic arm. There will be other jobs, but people will be impacted significantly, I believe. And we have to get ready for that. But there's no way around it. You're not going to stop this, right? You couldn't stop the internet. You couldn't stop social media. We can't stop this. It's never going to be able to. There's something called evolution, which is really a natural force. This is the natural force in the business world that we have to grapple with. But we shouldn't be saying, no, no, no. What we should be saying is, how do I harness the power? The future of AI, data analytics, digital transformation is massive. And it's not just going to happen overnight. I think there's a lot of companies that are basically saying, okay, I'm going to fire my workforce. But when you really find out 6 to 12 months later, they hire most people back, because it's maybe not everyone's coming back, but enough where we say, hey, we just can't get rid of everyone. And we have to realize that the human being is very good at being creative and being innovative. Now, my belief is that creativity is a human event. Innovation is the commercialization of creativity. So if you have the ability to create, which I believe is your God-given gift, you should be able to create other things. And once again, people will be impacted. There's no doubt about it. I mean, from blue collar to pink collar to white collar, everyone's going to be impacted. So you either could be part of the party and start getting ready for this, or you could put your head in the sand and say it's not going to happen, and good luck to you. I mean, look, even police officers are impacted by this, right? New York City police officers. We have police robotic dogs now. We have bomb-sniffing dogs that are robotics. We have AI systems for facial recognition. We're working in partnership with the AI systems. Just as you go to work, your laptop is your partner, right? You can't it's either your mobile phone or your laptop. Most people can't live without either of those. I just think your next friend will be your AI buddy who's going to help you. And within that is all about digital transformation, but you're harnessing the power of AI. People will be impacted. People are always impacted. You just have to really be ready for this. But one thing that AI really, in my opinion, does not do a very good job at is that human condition of creativity.
What do you mean by conditional creativity?
So in other words, the human mind create things. We created AI, we created laptops, we create things. It's infinite what we create. Mm-hmm. AI create things through an algorithm, but it is defined in a box. You could say create an artwork, but that's all it's going to create. The human mind could create artwork. It could create a new company. It could create a new book. It could create a whole new industry. It's endless. And what we also have to realize is 50 years ago, they were completely different companies. And today, 50 years ago, there was no Apple, there was no Google, right? And then 50 years from now, they're going to be completely different companies. And what we have to realize is every 7 years, roughly, there are different jobs that are created. And the people listening to your podcasts are going to have jobs that don't exist today. So you have to really get ready for trying to prepare for a job that doesn't even exist today. Web developer, mobile app developer, AI consultant. What we're talking about digital labor 50 years ago never existed. So 7 years from now, and the reason why I say 7 years, there was a time when the auto industry was going under. This very smart gentleman from the Federal Labor Board said, look, I could help your auto workers who are out of work, but in 7 years, I don't even know what the new jobs are. So what you have to try to do is future-proof yourself. And by future-proofing, you have to really harness the power of your creativity. You have to look at what the global trends are. You have to get educated by going to school or by reading books or going to conferences, but you're going to have to really take care of yourself. And the people who can't take care of themselves, I think society has an ethical responsibility to try to help.
Completely. I completely agree with your perspective on everything that you just said, and especially on the inevitability of job displacement and the importance of embracing technological advancements to create new job opportunities. Yes, it's a short-term job displacement, but I think in the long term, it's going to create more jobs, just like how any other technology has done in the past.
I think it's endless, really. I think work is endless, right? You could, once again, think about what we're talking about, the environment, climate change. I saw a really interesting job. It was like chief environmentalist in the office at the boardroom, which is really interesting. It's like the person who's looking out for the environment, just as you have a chief customer officer, chief client officer, right? You have the CEO, the CFO, and you have like this person who's basically whatever the company's doing is looking out for the environment. Very interesting. That job never existed before.
Yeah, definitely. Now, One last question for you, given your insights. What advice would you give to current entrepreneurs who are reluctant to invest in AI and other emerging technologies? These are often expensive, especially for companies trying to create in-house custom solutions. So how can they pragmatically approach integrating these technologies into their operations to stay competitive and prepare their workforce and company for the future?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the critical word you used is really prepare. So depending on if you're a startup or mid-level company, I think you just have to, one, be aware. And then the second piece is once you're aware, you should not jump into AI just because you're hearing it, right? Because a lot of people say, hey, AI, it's going to save the day, and going to save all this money and whatever it could be. The way I would do it is first use your word, which is prepare. Be aware, prepare, understand. And then see what your current processes are and see how you can integrate AI to assist you in your current process. But the really smart companies would really start with a blank sheet of paper and reconstruct their entire companies. So I used to advise very high level, large banks, and they're looking to build a digital bank. And they never liked what I said, which was I would start all over. I wouldn't build on your current banking infrastructure. I would build a whole entire new bank because of the culture, because of the strategy, because of the technology. It's hard to build on quicksand. So for the entrepreneurs out there looking at AI, you may have to stop what you're currently doing and rethink the core reason for your business and rebuild it from the ground up. For me, when I was looking at Landit, I traditionally had people physically doing interview analysis, phone interview analysis, digital analysis. But I realized that's very inconsistent. Now that we built our AI system, it's very consistent and much more detailed. So entrepreneurs out there, really be aware what's out there. Be aware how you possibly could use the application. Get someone like you and your organization to sort of be an advisor and help them. See what cool stuff's out there that maybe not be, not you'll be that expensive, but start working with it. And to be honest with you, if you drive a car, you're using AI now, right? I mean, let's be real. Like, as long as it's built 2020 or older, right? You put the key in the ignition, there's a whole AI system protecting you. Anti-lock brakes, accident detection system. I'm not driving my car thinking about all these things. They're there for me. So we have to be real with the fact that, okay, I've always been using AI. It's now helping me, but now it's a little bit more in my competitive landscape that it is going to have to help me define now what I could and could not do. And it's only going to become more advanced every day, every year, every decade.
For sure. I completely agree. So many people use AI in their day-to-day life without even realizing it, whether it be in Google Maps when they do a simple search to, operating your car. They just are using AI, but now it's just more conversational. It's more generative. So
more like that. And
it's more like them.
Exactly. And it's funny, like people can't drive around the block without Google, right? It's like really funny. No one knows where they live.
Yeah, not anymore.
Right?
Definitely.
So when you think about it, you have a 2-ton vehicle with a human being driving it, listening to a voice that of a non-human taking them somewhere, right? And they're not even thinking; they're just like robots. So you're already working with AI, but now it's more of an advanced model, and it's just more coming. But you're either going to have to embrace it or spend a lot of energy fighting it. But I don't think you could ever win evolution, the battle with evolution. It's just a natural way of being.
Yeah, absolutely right. That's some great advice, Paul. Thank you so much for educating me and our listeners about the practical approaches to integrating AI and preparing for the future of work. To all our listeners, that brings us to the end of the episode of Simple Tech Talk. We have explored the inevitability of AI-induced job displacement, the importance of embracing technological advancements, and the potential for humans to work alongside AI as partners, which I absolutely cannot wait for. Thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for our next episode where we'll continue to explore the impact of AI on various industries. Paul, thank you so much.
Ron, thank you. Great chatting with you. Cheers.